In the early 1930s, Hollywood studios were ready to declare the movie musical a dead genre. The initial thrill had completely evaporated, and theaters were watching their ticket sales plummet week after week. The primary obstacle to capturing dynamic movement on screen was the sheer physical mass of early sound recording equipment. Because early microphones picked up every stray mechanical click and whir, cameras had to be locked inside massive, heavily padded soundproof glass booths just to capture a clean audio track. Trapped inside these boxes, the camera became completely immobile. Directors were forced to film musical numbers exactly like a patron sitting politely in the front row of a theater balcony. This created a severe physical limitation. The camera's perspective was locked into a rigid cone of vision, pointed straight ahead at a flat stage. The chorus girls had to perform entirely within that narrow, frozen window, while the lens never moved an inch. Without the dynamic motion that made cinema unique, these early musicals felt hopelessly flat and stage-bound, driving audiences away and pushing the genre to the brink of extinction. That downward trajectory reversed in 1933, with the arrival of a dance director named Busby Berkeley. Berkeley did not come from a traditional theatrical background. He had served during the First World War as an entertainment director for the field artillery. Working with massive groups of soldiers gave him a distinct eye for coordinating huge bodies of people moving in strict, synchronized unison. When he arrived on a Hollywood backlot, he brought those exact precision military drills with him, applying them directly to the chorus line. Instead of focusing on individual tap routines, he mapped out intricate floor plans where performers expanded and contracted with absolute geometric precision. He treated his performers as individual cogs, working together to build a massive, perfectly synchronized visual machine. To capture these massive formations, Berkeley refused to keep his camera locked inside a sound booth. He mounted the equipment on custom-built cranes to swoop through the sets. He instructed his crews to cut holes directly through the studio ceilings, allowing him to point the lens straight down onto the stage floor. These sweeping, elevated camera movements required filming environments far larger than any physical Broadway stage could ever accommodate. From that high vantage point, a standard line of chorus girls dissolved into abstract shapes, reforming into giant human flowers, spinning stars, and interlocking gears. He populated these cavernous spaces with surreal architecture, designing intricate set pieces like this massive multi-tiered water fountain built purely for the camera's eye. By treating the lens as an active, flying participant in the choreography, Berkeley established an entirely new spatial grammar for the cinematic musical. Yet the immense visual scale alone does not explain why films like 42nd Street and Gold Diggers of 1933 connected so deeply with crowds. The audiences were living through the deepest troughs of the Great Depression, an environment defined by widespread bank failures and intense economic panic. It was a daily reality of intense scarcity, where thousands lined the sidewalks waiting for basic rations from municipal welfare departments. Rather than ignoring this grim environment, Berkeley's musicals absorbed it. His narratives featured extravagant stage productions being shut down mid-rehearsal by police repossessing the costumes for unpaid debts. He placed a specific focus on the millions of unemployed, destitute World War I veterans who returned home only to be abandoned by society. This culminates in the closing sequence of Gold Diggers of 1933, Remember My Forgotten Men, featuring weary soldiers marching across shadow-drenched bridges. It was a bleak, cynical tribute to the men standing outside in the real-world breadlines, providing a sobering contrast to the glittering escapism of the earlier scenes. Because he anchored his visual scale in the genuine struggles of the era, the cinematic spectacle felt earned. It became a powerful, creative triumph over the adversity waiting right outside the theater doors. This was brought to you by Stalls or Circle. Thank you for listening.